Welcome back, and we have another news update for you. The head of the Luhansk military region is saying that 2,700 civilians have now been successfully evacuated from the region, but Russian forces have been shelling the evacuation route. And if that's true, more possible Russian war crimes committed by the Putin-led army. Luckily, no injuries at the evacuation points have been reported. Stay with us for all of the latest breaking news throughout the hour. And let's also now check in with Amanda Brilhanti in the newsroom for some of our other headlines. Amanda.
Here's what else we're covering right now. President Biden officially rescinding Title 42. The Trump-era policy allowed for the rapid expulsion of migrants at the border and blocked them from seeking asylum. The order was issued by the CDC amid the public health crisis of COVID-19, and it'll be lifted on May 23rd. Meanwhile, the city of Los Angeles committing $3 billion over the next 5 years to house some of its 41,000 homeless citizens. The deal is part of a settlement with a group of business owners, residents, and community leaders of failing to address the homelessness crisis. The settlement still requires city council approval. And Ivy League colleges becoming more selective. Some of the top colleges in the nation issued their acceptance letters earlier this week and reported some of the lowest admission rates in their history, with Harvard only accepting 3.19%, which is its lowest rate since the university was founded. Those are some of your headlines. Breaking news, go to Newsmax.com. Back to you.
Thanks, Amanda. As we were discussing last hour, President Biden announced his budget proposal last week, and with the backdrop of an ascendant China, a war in Europe against imperial Russia, and a growing bloc of aligned authoritarian nations, the Biden budget is raising concerns over declining investment in the United States military. Are we prepared to fight the new threats that we face and protect this country? To discuss, we welcome back former Secretary of Veterans Affairs and former Undersecretary of Defense under President Trump, Secretary Robert Wilkie. Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you.
Now, before we get into that, we always do appreciate your insights into the war and what you believe Putin's next move might be here. There's been a lot of conflicting theories over the last few days. If I can get your quick thoughts, sir.
Well, he's definitely been bloodied. The Ukrainians are now taking the fight into Russia proper. But he is still an incredibly dangerous enemy. Mm-hmm. What I think will happen is that he will escalate the war on civilians. That's what Russians do. We've already seen the commission of the most vile of war crimes, booby-trapping dead bodies, booby-trapping toys. These are things that most Americans would consider out of the Soviet Union dark ages, but they are doing them regularly now. Mm-hmm. The time is not past for us to finally start giving Zelensky everything he needs. Mm-hmm. That means sophisticated anti-aircraft systems, aircraft. And last thing I'll say, Tom, our Switchblade drones. Those are the drones that hover over a target and then crash right into them and blow them up. He could devastate the Russians with that.
All right, I want to move on. Military analysts are growing increasingly concerned, sir, that the U.S. military is weakening. President Biden touted some increases in military spending this week, but in his budget, the Wall Street Journal editorial board wrote the overall budget picture is that the Biden team is betting on weapons, they say, that don't yet exist for a war they hope arrives on somebody else's watch, and they advocated a return to the 5% Cold War defense spending. What does this budget actually do for our military? And what is the projection if we stay on this course?
Well, the projection is that we're spending the least that we have spent on defense since the end of World War II. We're below that 3% of GDP threshold that every president from Harry Truman to Donald Trump said was absolutely necessary to maintain American military dominance. Mm-hmm. The announcement the president made was nonsensical, because even given the increases on the baseline of the budget, with Biden inflation at 8%, you're still going to witness a tremendous cut from the Trump budget.
Right. Absolutely. Now let's talk a little specifics, sir. The Navy believes it needs some 500 ships to be a deterrence against China. By 2027, we're only going to have about 280, down from some 298 today. It's also going to cut the number of F-35 airplanes. The Air Force Association has now come out and said they've never been this unprepared. Your reaction?
Well, as an Air Force officer in my other life, they're absolutely right. We are about to confront China with F-15s and F-16s that came online during the Reagan administration. Wow. The Marine Corps is marching off the cliff into irrelevancy. The strategy for the Marine Corps now is to divest itself of its armor and its artillery and rely on off-range technologies to combat the Chinese. You mentioned the ships. The Chinese have 110 shipyards. We have about 20. This is the smallest number of ships in the United States fleet since the 1930s. And unlike the Chinese, we have global commitments that they don't have.
That's right.
And we are reaching a point where their quantity will overwhelm the residual quality that the United States Navy has within the Taiwan Straits and the Pacific Littoral. And
the Army, sir, is also expected to shrink under his proposals as well. Talk about that briefly for us.
Well, yes, the Army has received the bulk of the funding for defense since the attacks in 2001. Right. We're racing to have the smallest Army since we had in 1941. Wow. We're not going to be able to sustain a long fight in Europe and then also watch what's going on in Asia. And we forget also the Iranian threat here, that while he's fighting a war against the Ukrainians, Vladimir Putin is assisting Joe Biden to cut a deal with the Iranians on nuclear weapons. And we are about to hand, and I think it'll happen in the next week or two, we're about to hand the Iranians tens of billions of dollars to try to buy them off.
Secretary Robert Wilkie, as always, thank you for your perspective. Appreciate you being here.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.